Growing up in the spotlight, Michael Jackson's personal life was all too often speculated in the press for public consumption. However, not many people really knew what kind of person Michael Jackson was behind closed doors, not in the way Stephanie Mills does. While many celebrities today have no problem showcasing their romantic relationships in public, this wasn't really the case for Michael Jackson. The Grammy and Tony Award-winning actress was one of the few women the King of Pop had a romantic relationship with, and she has never been afraid to open up about their time together. Dating for over a year and a half in the late 1970s, Stephanie Mills has a unique insight into a young Michael Jackson. An intimate view of the man before extraordinary fame and success shaped him into the pop icon the world became so familiar with. Here's the detail. Before Michael Jackson appeared in Stephanie Mills' life, the Brooklyn native began her professional career at age 9, appearing in the Broadway musical Maggie Flynn. After winning Amateur Night at the Apollo Theater 6 weeks straight at age 11, Mills went on to become the opening act for the Isley Brothers. Mills' career took off when in 1975 she was cast as Dorothy in the Broadway musical The Wiz, an African-American adaptation of The Wizard of Oz. The musical became a sensation, and her song Home from the show would become her signature tune for years to come. In 1977, Motown Productions acquired the film rights to The Wiz and signed the teenage Stephanie Mills in anticipation of having her star as Dorothy in the film adaptation. However, Motown actress, singer, and superstar Diana Ross pleaded with Motown CEO Berry Gordy to cast her instead, but he declined, saying that the then 33-year-old Ross was far too old for the part. However, she contacted Rob Cohen of Universal Pictures, who offered to finance the film if she were to play Dorothy. As a result, Gordy and Cohen agreed to a deal, casting Diana Ross in the role of Dorothy, who was no longer a child, but now a school teacher to fit in with Ross's age at the time. Pauline Kael, a film critic, described Ross's efforts to get in the film as perhaps the strongest example of sheer will in film history. Michael Jackson, a former Motown star and close friend of Diana Ross, was cast as the Scarecrow, even though Jackson's father, Joseph Jackson, was wary of the project and saw it as a threat to the Jacksons' group cohesion. While on production, Michael and his sister, LaToya Jackson, were moved into a Manhattan apartment in Sutton Palace. Away from his controlling father, Michael Jackson experienced freedoms he had never previously enjoyed before, and part of this was a social life. Apart from becoming a frequent visitor to New York's Studio 54, Jackson and the other cast members would regularly go see The Wiz on Broadway, and after the show, hang out backstage with the stage cast members. This is where Stephanie Mills and Michael Jackson first met, and their romance blossomed. We spent a lot of time together. I got a chance to spend a lot of time with him, especially when he would come to the show almost every day and sit back and watch. Stephanie Mills recounted. At that time, I was, 15, 16 years old? And every girl in America wanted to be with Michael Jackson, and I just knew that I was going to be Mrs. Michael Jackson. Stephanie Mills has mentioned that she would also visit him on the film set for The Wiz, and how they became increasingly comfortable and domesticated with each other. I got a chance to go to the house. I was washing his clothes. I stayed with him on Sutton. I made rice for him one day, and he said the rice was real runny because I can't cook. I don't profess to cook, but he ate it. Stephanie Mills remembers that at the time, she was blown away by how sweet, compassionate, and loving of a person Jackson was, that he was very soft-spoken and humble. He was the most gentle and kind person. He never said a bad word about anybody. I've never seen him upset. Never. Although Stephanie Mills has revealed that she spent the night in Michael Jackson's bed during their brief romance, she also claims that they were never fully intimate with each other like most couples would be. When asked why they broke up, Mills revealed that his growing fame and the people he started surrounding himself with just wasn't something she was into. In other interviews, she mentioned how she was ready to get serious and commit, but Michael Jackson wasn't interested in settling down just yet. By 1980, Stephanie Mills had got engaged and married Shalamar founding member Jeffrey Daniel, who wowed Michael Jackson with his dancing on Soul Train, and would later teach him what would become an MJ signature, the moonwalk. In the early 1980s, Mills released chart-topping songs and won the Grammy Award for Best Female R&B Vocal Performance for the song Never Knew Love Like This Before. And even though Mills and Daniel's marriage would only last a couple of years, the two remained friendly. When Michael Jackson employed Jeffrey to help him choreograph his music video for Bad, Stephanie visited the set. Filmed in a Brooklyn subway station, Mills remembers when she first saw Jackson after he had completely transformed himself between the Thriller and Bad albums. In recent years, Stephanie Mills has expressed strong views when asked about the music industry's treatment of black artists. "We go wrong when they try to be so pop. We have to stay true to who we are because they don't respect you, really when you're trying to be like them. Regardless of how popular you are and how much you think you're in, you're not. Whether you've been around for 100 years or whether you've been around for 10 years, they don't look at us like that. They don't honor us like they honor the white acts." Stephanie Mills and Jackson's romance may have not lasted very long, but Mills has continued to love and support Jackson and still considers him the sweetest and most pure person she's ever known. And although the singer's relationship with Jackson wasn't fully consummated, she consistently stood by Jackson whenever sexual assault allegations were made against him. In 2019, when asked about HBO's Leaving Neverland documentary, she replied, "I'm familiar with it, but I won't be watching it because he didn't do the things. They said he was already clear." Mills said, "He went to court, so why are they doing it? It's purely to make money, so I will not be watching it, because I don't believe any of that's true. I know for a fact that it's not true." During her interview on The Breakfast Club, Mills touched upon the accusations yet again by sharing what she believes is the reason behind all of this slander. "Michael liked being around children because they were innocent," she shared. "They didn't want anything from him, they didn't have an agenda. I think that's why he liked being around children. They just like to play and have fun." Mills continued the conversation by expressing that people have always wanted to make Jackson out to be the bad guy, and continue to do so today. Quote, "But most people around him had an agenda. They wanted something," she said. "I don't think anything he did was strange. I think the public and the people around him made it strange. But he's not that." Thank you for watching The Detail. Check out our channel for more videos on Michael Jackson's intimate relationships, including Michael Jackson's untold love story with Diana Ross. We'll see you next time.